apartment that another board member did not feel should have been rented. I, on the other hand, felt that since the condominium did not maintain a yearly lease or an updated lease, the person who had moved out was living here on a month-to-month basis. Mr. Willard and myself went to the attorney, and it is a reasonable, ethical thing to request and really enforce that everyone who rents out must have an in-effect lease. That people cannot live here, and we will send out a regular, simple update to the people. There are very few who rent, and they need to renew. And us keeping a renewed lease, we have then the control of who's in the apartments and that they're living here by a lease. And, you know, we will make sure now that everyone has an updated lease, and I will try not to make any errors that makes any of the members disgruntled. If anyone doesn't understand, or if a board member wants to ask me any questions, feel free.
Sounds good to me, Leslie. I think that we should have eventually some flooding.
Right.
Underneath it, that's what's by not enforcing it,
Is everybody listening to Mr. Willard? Can everybody hear him? Well, then we got to talk slower.
Here's what he's saying. By not having the people keep their leases updated, we let the rule go out. We made an error by not having them enforced. Then when I went back and started it, we have to at this time bring the rule back into activity so that we can make sure that everyone who comes here to live has a lease. And it's important that the people who own the condos know the difference between a guest, a tenant, people who come and go, and people who are here with you. Otherwise, we have no idea of who's in. If you ever had a disaster, a fire, a lightning, a hurricane, we wouldn't even know who were those condos. So it's important to keep our records up to date. Right. 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 What we're doing, Mr. Willard was stating, is we're reactivating what was already there, but had just slid through the cracks. And now we're going to just keep it, on the advice of the attorney, we're going to do the renewal and just keep a little tighter rein on who's living in the apartments. That's all we're doing.
Are there any questions on that?
We're now open to board discussion. There was somebody, this person was renting on a month-to-month basis.
Yes. That's what they call it. When you do not, say a person moves in 1995. His lease runs 1996. You never.
Give me the month?
No,
the month.
a year.
Oh,
They
January?
They come in July of 95, and they live to June 30th of 96.
That's the yearly lease.
Okay. Now the office never updated the leases. Now the lease is no longer in effect.
Okay.
By that person living there for another year.
Why is the board, can I ask you something? Why is the board get involved with leasing between an owner and a tenant. Our
Why do you
responsibility,
process
excuse
the
me,
people
that
then?
because they have the authority to do. We're not in the middle of leasing apartments. Yes, we have the right to a copy of it, but when we decide on a month-to-month basis,
We don't allow a month-to-month basis.
where is that not allowed in the rules?
It's right there, it's a minimum of 3 months and a maximum of 1 year.
Owner shall lease
Prospective owner, lessee or resident shall file the approved application
Form,
form,
right.
contract for purchase, comma,
Right.
lease, comma,
Right.
or other information, so if they file the lease.
Right, they filed the original lease with the board. Now, why are they obligated to keep filing it? Where is that in the rules?
They're filing an update.
Every year, if it expires, you have to have it.
You have to, is that a rule?
It says right here, you're supposed to have a lease. Yes.
With the original application.
Because if they don't file a lease every year.
No, I'm not arguing. Please don't misunderstand me. It's not an
It's an
argument.
interpretation, the way you're interpreting it.
Yes. Do we have an opinion letter from the attorney, or is this all verbal? Oh, it's all verbal. Okay. Folks, we can't hear Mr. Willard. Right. You know what? I agree. I agree. No problem, but we gotta get that in writing.
So our leases expire, as they are written now, that most of the leases expire on a yearly basis. And the attorney has suggested that we're within our rights to expect a new lease yearly from whoever the people are who have leased out their apartment.
Right,
Did you hear?
and I did initiate a form.
So
I initiated a form, took it to the lawyer, had it approved, and now as leases expire, say 3 weeks or a month prior to the expiration date, I will send the owner renewal form and expect it back within 4 weeks.
Okay. So it's for all of our
That's
own,
okay.
it's for all of our own, that we know that the place is properly leased, we know who's there, we know the people have been interviewed by the board, you know, whether you're a tenant or an owner, you're interviewed by the board, so we know who's here. We know who, you know, that's okay.
Did the attorney mention anything about putting this in the documents? The question I asked was, did the attorney, Mr. Willard spoke to the attorney, and it is all verbal with regard to the rules of leasing. My question to Mr. Willard was, did the attorney say anything about putting the leasing requirements in our documents?
In our documents. If anything that's in the documents, it's much easier to enforce than it is to...
Did you hear that? Mr. Willard said anything in the documents is much easier to enforce than in the rules. But recent appellate court has upheld the leasing of because it's reasonable. Okay. Do you have the court case for that? Oh, could you get me a attorney?
Copy of it out.
Yes, of course. You know how I research everything, man.
Why do I need it?
Because I would like to see it. Because I think this is something, and I'm mentioning this really for the association's benefit, that, and I also know the state requires, I don't know if you're aware of this, for the last 20 years, the state requires any new condominiums to have leasing rule requirements in the actual documents. We do?
Yes, we do.
Where
We
are they?
even took them with us. I took the documents to the lawyer when we went.
Where is that in the documents?
Well, I photocopy.
Do you remember what exactly it says?
No, I don't.
I'm only concerned that maybe we should think about putting the leasing requirements in the documents.
I tell you about that. You can't get 50 people to come to anything. And it takes 160 people.
No, it takes 138 people. Yes.
I can't get 50.
Why,
Okay.
it's in the case that is already, okay, does anyone have any questions about that out here in the audience at the moment?
Yeah.
Can we, would anyone like to question that? What we just discussed now, because we're about the leases, do you understand about it?
I've always taken a copy of our lease.
But there's only 3 of us in.
No, you other people do it.
No, and obviously they have it.
Because I really almost get laughed at when I saw it. It's just because it's a matter of business.
There's only approximately 20 leases, you know, out of the 20 leases, we had 4 or 5. That's what problem was.
Okay.
And I know it's a problem.
Okay.
Rather than get out of here.
It's not going on.
No problem.
It's not been running.
All right, so there not being any questions, and because as we discussed, you had discussed that with the attorney.
It's not.
So then we can proceed to.
Just so I understand, is this voting on a rule? Because,
To restate the rule that's already there.
It's already in.
okay. I just want to bring this up, and it's really for board, what you want. It's under section 718-1112. I think it's 3C, page O of the condominium.
I read it.
Oh, you read it? Oh, so you're aware of it?
That's what it's page 12.
Oh, you read it now? Oh, well then you know we need the 14-day requirement.
The attorney said not to.
Not
We had
just
not-
to
Oh, the attorney has said we don't need the
The
14-day
14
requirement
days,
for the
reinstate.
leases only.
Yes, to
Okay.
reinstate the leases, because it's already in there.
Oh, all right.
So it's just a matter of reinstating it. We're not changing or adding it to it, we're just reinstating
Not
it.
adding.
We're acknowledging that we're
I
acknowledging
understand.
it's there.
Acknowledging something that's already in the
Okay. Okay.
I make a motion that we'd like to proceed to, with the re-acknowledgement of this item that is already in existence in our, with regard to leases being,
I second it.
call the roll.
Mrs. Bean?
Yes.
Mrs. Feenan?
Yes.
Mr. Rubio? No. Mr. Willard?
So the motion still carried because there was
3.
a 3 as opposed to 4. Okay. Okay, the item of business is